Okay. Uh, the first question is how would you describe or define the trust?
Yep.
And can you also from the interpersonal or
Yep.
organizational
Yep.
aspects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trust basically, it really has to do with reputation.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a trustworthy reputation, you can actually trust in them and believe them. You can have a transaction with them and know that each party is going to uphold their side of the bargain, whether that's formal or informal, in business or in a personal relationship. So trust is about, if you're meeting a friend, that that you're going to meet your friend. They'll show up and they're not just going to call it, last minute and go, something else has come up. So it's a belief in somebody's actions. So, and it's a reciprocal belief. So if you don't have trust in somebody, you don't think they're going to do what you agreed to do or what you requested them to do. Whereas if you have trust in them, it's going to be done. And I think there are three things one looked at. So is it going to be done well? Is it going to be done in time?
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously if you're in business, is it going to be done in the price that you agreed to do it? So it works both ways. I think it's fundamental from a standpoint of if you want to interact with an individual, you need to be able to build trust. Otherwise, I think they would call the person unreliable, and in business maybe unethical. So trust is a very, very strong trait. Interpersonally, how does it work? It's very similar. So generally, interpersonally, trust developed through friendships. So you get to know somebody, and you have some friends that are a bit more flaky than others, and you kind of give them leeway. But if you have you're going away and you want somebody to look after your cat, for example, do you trust them that they'll actually do it? That they'll come and feed it regularly? They'll make sure that it's healthy, doesn't have fleas, or will they kind of come in once a week and not really care? That's trust. So you say, well, this is what I would like you to do, and are you willing to do it? And then you have trust in that person that will do that. And if they do, that's then there's integrity. And if they don't do what they say they're going to do, then that's a lack of integrity. In a business relationship, more and more so, I think sometimes business transactions are done on a handshake, but normally you're going to have a contract, because this will say, this is what you do, this is what you get, this is what we'll do. And so you tend to have a contract, just so everybody knows where they stand. If you even have a roommate, you generally will have a contract with them, where they stand. And in business, you tend to do that. I mean, it also breaks down, and that's why lawyers make so much money, because they then go to court, and very much the contract is what they base it on. You've broken the contract, or you've done that. In a personal life, you have a contract, but it's an unwritten contract. So it's a little bit different in that it's less formal, but the same values apply.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you very much. And the second question is how important is trust in organizations?
Yes, well, just as trust is important in personal relationships, it's critical in an organization, because it goes back to the integrity of the people in that organization and the organization. So if you don't trust that the organization's not going to do what they say they're going to do, why would you work with them? You'd rather work with somebody that has a better reputation. And it's the same thing when you form friendships. If you feel that you can't trust somebody, would you how close a friendship are you going to develop with that person? It works both ways. So I think it's absolutely critical.
Yeah. I think
Trust and reputation are the two things which I think absolutely go hand in hand. So initially it takes time to build your reputation, so you've got to trust somebody that they'll do it. But over time, people will go, you've got a great reputation, so we know we can trust you. So it's already established.
Yeah.
But sometimes organizations lose the plot. They get new people in, they don't, they have a relationship, they've delivered really well, and then things change in the organization, and their reputation declines, and then organizations say, I'm going to go out and look at other providers now, because that trust in that relationship has disappeared. So if you want to maintain a healthy business, you've got to have high levels of trust.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And third question is, why do you think people do not trust the government?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there's a lot of cynicism. Governments make promises, and they're always breaking promises. They say they're going to do something they don't, or they say we're going to do this, and it's going to cost X, and then it ends up costing Y, and it takes 4 times longer than what they say it's going to do.
Yeah.
So I think through experience, and I mean politics, the whole idea of politics is a trade-off. So while they say certain things and make certain promises, when the reality bites, they have to trade off with other members of parliament and other parties and whatever. So there's a lack of trust. Governments do not deliver what they say they're going to deliver when they deliver it in a timely fashion. So I think that's probably why there's a lack of trust. One is always hopeful, new government, things might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I think there's been so much corruption within governments. There's been so much non-delivery. There've been so many promises which have been broken. It's obviously that people aren't going to trust them because they're not delivering what they say they're going to deliver.
Yeah. Thank you. And
and I mean, if you have a government that delivers, then they will stay in power for a lot longer, because then they will develop more trust. People say, well, we can trust this government to deliver. But I think if you look at countries, look in this country, how often the government changes. It's because there's lack of trust. People just will go for something else because they just don't trust what they've got currently. Not necessarily they're going to trust what's new, but they kind of go, well, we're sick of what's not being delivered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And next question is, how do you suggest to improve the trust for government?
Well,
Maybe
that's very much,
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are, in addition to what I'm saying is that if you promise something, you need to deliver on it. And you need to deliver it on the times you promised to deliver on it and in the cost of your time to deliver on it. Otherwise, don't make a promise. Because you break a promise, you ruin trust. Okay? So only promise what you can deliver on. So I think that would certainly help. And then I think the other way to improve trust is to listen to what people actually want. And not just go, well, we're just going to do what we think is right, but to actually, to listen, actively listen, as opposed to hearing. The governments will say, oh, yeah, we hear what you say, and they're going to do whatever. Anyway, but I think active listening and hearing what people want and trying to deliver on that, because in terms of what the majority are looking for, because that's what government's there for, to represent the majority. So it's really listening, active listening, and trying to deliver on those issues which are important, and I'll give you an example, climate control, the climate issues at the moment. The rest of the world, or a lot of the rest of the world, is trying to do something, not everybody, but this government, this country, refuses to listen. They keep saying there's no problem. What's wrong with opening new coal mines? What's wrong with this? They're not actively listening. It's the perception that it's all big business. Big business has the control and the say. So the actual man in the street, isn't trusting, because they kind of go, nobody's listening to us. So it's active listening, and then delivering on kind of what people have elected you to do power for. So I think that would go some way to improving trust.
Yeah. And the last question is, which company do you think does well in building organizational trust in your mind?
Do you want specific company names?
Yeah. In your mind, it's okay.
Which companies? The problem is with trust, it's like, because companies are there to make money. You see,
you think he didn't have the trust.
So the trust is: are you there? Are you just, you're just there to make money, and you don't really care about the customer? And so I think a company's doing a lot more to gain customer trust by interacting with customers, again, listening to what customers are doing, sort of spending time and integrating. They're not just selling a product, they may be trying to maintain an ongoing relationship. Yes, at the end of the day, they want to make more sales. But I think the more they develop, they become part of the, integrate into the kind of communities and understand what the communities want, and tailor their products to what communities are looking for, I think that will help trust as well. So, because I think a lot of times, great products to design, and then I think companies go, well, we're on the gravy train, and then next time the product comes out, it's twice as expensive. It's kind of like, well, you trust that organisation's doing the right thing for you, or is it just trying to gouge you? So I think people have to feel, again, you're delivering what customers want, you're delivering it its quality product, you're delivering it in time, and you're delivering it at a reasonable cost. I think if those factors have been considered, you're going to have much more trust in the company, as opposed to when you feel you're just being completely ripped off.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So?
Yeah. And